Good morning. We're going to get started this morning with an invocation from Pastor Dan Junkin of Hillcrest Presbyterian Church, and that'll be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Blair Carsey of Girl Scouts Troop 3469. Please stand as you are able.
Let us pray. Oh God, we come to you in prayer as your children. We pray for those called together to lead and manage our city, the City Council of Oklahoma City. We pray that our city might arrange itself in such a way that all of the citizens are led and served in ways they deserve. And we pray that the City Council's decisions might be in accord with your will and with your expectations. In all, O God, we pray that all of our actions and intentions today might be what you wish and expect from us all. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor, and thank you, Blair. All right, I call this meeting of the City Council to order, and we are on item 3, Office of the Mayor, and we have a presentation for which I will make my way to the front. Emma Miller, you are our Teacher of the Month, and we'd like to learn a little bit more about you, and so I'd ask the clerk to read this resolution.
Whereas Miss Emma Miller has been named Teacher of the Month for December 2025 by Putnam City Public Schools Foundation and Rotary Club of Oklahoma City. And whereas Miss Miller received her bachelor's degree in elementary education, demonstrating a strong academic foundation and a commitment to shaping the lives of young learners. And whereas Ms. Miller has served as a third grade teacher at Central Elementary School, where she is known for creating a warm, inclusive, and academically rigorous classroom environment that supports students of all backgrounds and abilities. And whereas Ms. Miller is recognized by her colleagues and administrators for her dedication to literacy development, her consistent use of data-driven instruction, and her innovative approaches to student engagement that foster curiosity, confidence, and a lifelong love of learning. And whereas Ms. Miller contributes to the broader school community by supporting school-wide events, collaborating with fellow educators, mentoring new teachers, and helping cultivate a positive and supportive campus culture at Central Elementary. And whereas Ms. Miller is admired for her patient, joyful, and student-centered teaching style, consistently going above and beyond to ensure every child feels valued, supported, and empowered to achieve their highest potential. And whereas Ms. Miller's dedication to her craft and her compassion for students exemplify the highest ideals of the teaching profession and reflect the mission and values of Putnam City Schools. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the City of Oklahoma City that they do hereby recognize and commend Emma Miller on her selection as the December 2025 Teacher of the Month by Putnam City Public Schools Foundation and Rotary Club of Oklahoma City.
Well, thank you. Now, this is a resolution, Emma, so we're going to see if we can get a motion in a second for this first before we hear from you. It's always, it's not you, it's us. The system's always a little rusty in the morning. Oh, there we go. A motion and a second. Please cast your votes. I wish to vote aye. They're thinking about it, Emma. Passes unanimously. All right. Well, thank you so much for your service to our young people. And of course, I'm a graduate of Putnam City Schools, so I'm especially grateful. So we'd love to hear a few words of wisdom. I understood in our earlier conversation that maybe you weren't expecting that. So, but you've had 5 whole minutes to think about it. So here you go. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much for this nomination. It feels so special. Teaching has brought me so much joy and is my passion, and just a place that I love to come to every day and make a good classroom environment for my students, where it feels like a class family. And it's brought so much to me in my life, so it feels so special to be able to be honored in this way. So thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely. Let's hear it for Emma. Thank you. All right, we're still on Office of the Mayor. And now we have item B, a resolution approving travel expenses for me to attend the U.S. Conference of Mayors Winter Meeting in Washington, D.C. at the end of January. I could take a motion on that. A motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously and with the necessary 6 affirmative votes. Now we are on items C, D, and E. These are our annual setting of salaries for the positions that we appoint here, the city manager, city auditor, and the municipal councilor. We will typically go into executive session, so we'll handle that on each item at the end of our other business, but for now we will vote to go into executive session, and so this will be a vote on C2 to begin with. With a motion and a second, cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Now a vote on D2. We have a motion and a second, cast your votes. Passes unanimously. And now a vote on E2. A motion and a second, cast your votes. Passes unanimously. As stated, we'll handle our discussion, our executive session at the end of our other business, and after that we would also return and potentially vote on C1, D1, and E1. All right, that concludes Office of the Mayor for now. We are now on items from council, of which there are none today, which brings us to item 5, City Manager reports. Mr. City Manager.
We just have 2 items on today. We have the sales and use tax report. And on sales and use tax, we continue the roller coaster ride of sales tax that we're up 8.5% on sales tax, but then use tax is down. And I think if you step back and look at it as a whole, there's a couple of anomalies that are in the data. There was a remittance that came in on the wholesale side that was covering several months, maybe even as much as a year. That was like $1 million that should have been spread out over a longer period of time. So that came in. And then if you think back, last year in grocery tax, when the grocery sales tax exemption went in for the state, there were a lot of vendors that were confused by that and didn't collect the city sales tax initially. So there was delay with that. That had a negative effect. So grocery tax was lower last year, out of the ordinary. This is back up closer to normal. And so when you look at it all in the end, I think one of the things to think about is like it's near where we were 2 years ago on sales tax. So it's about the same amount we were collecting 2 years ago. So that really is showing that we don't have significant growth overall. But if you look on this year, it's 4.7% growth in sales tax. And on the opposite side of that, use tax is down by 2.62%. So when you mix the two together, sales tax is up 3.7 above the budget. Use tax is down $3 million, 3.7 million above the budget. Use tax is $3 million below the budget. So in all, we're about $700,000 over budget right now with sales and use tax combined. So I would say in all the mix of the roller coaster and everything else, we're basically right on budget right now. And we'll continue monitoring that. Russell will be giving us an update in February when we do our workshop. But in talking with him, as the team has talked with him, he has said that his expectation, like where we are with sales tax right now, would be that we would finish the year at about 2% growth. So that would mean we'd see lower growth in the second half of the year, but just something we'll continue to monitor and let you know. But good news right now is we're basically on budget with sales and use tax. And then we have the claims and payroll that can be found at okc.gov, and that's all that I have today.
All right. That brings us to item 6, Journal of Council Proceedings. We have items A and B we can take with one motion. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Item 7 is our request for uncontested continuances. You'll note on the agenda that items 11B and 11K are already deferred to December 16th. Is there anything else, Mr. City Manager?
We just have 2 items today, starting on page 13, item 11P1, unsecured structures. Both of these items, or it's the same item on 2 different agenda, or 2 different items, the same address, and so they'll both be stricken. It's item A, 4712 South Byers Avenue, and then on page 13 again, 11Q1 abandoned buildings, item A, 4712 South Byers Avenue. We're striking that because the owner is already secured. That's all that I have.
Okay. Item 8 are revocable permits and events. Item 8A is a revocable right-of-way use permit with Autism Oklahoma to hold Run Lucky on March 15th on West Park between Walker and Hudson. And we have Crystal Frost here.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for letting me be here today. This is our 4th year for the Run Lucky, and some of you know that Autism Oklahoma also has our signature event, the Autism Walk, that is at Scissortail in June. And we used to have a 5K, and we stopped doing that a few years ago, and OK Runner took on the Run Lucky, which used to be the Lymphoma Society, and now it's for Autism Oklahoma. So this is our 4th year. So we're able to still have our 5K in a different way for our families. And last year we saw our numbers double. So it's really great. And we're hoping with this new date that's closer to actually St. Patrick that it's going to help to increase those numbers as well. And this is how we pay for our funding with Autism Oklahoma. So it's March 15th, and we're doing really great things. We have a new executive director this past year, and we're growing and doing wonderful things for our families. We serve about 4,500 families across the state. So, and my son's here as well today. So we're seeing all of these adults become social, and we have a lot of programs that we're doing with the funding from these events. So we hope that you will let us continue to do it.
Thank you. Now, this is in Ward 6, who is not present today. I don't know if there's anybody who wants to just jump in. Go ahead, Councilman Cooper.
Thank you for hosting such a thoughtful and important event, and just the work you're doing in general, and I would move for approval.
We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Have a great event. All right, we're going to recess the council now and convene as the Oklahoma City Municipal Facilities Authority, where we have items A through E, and executive session is not requested on item D2. So we could take all those with one motion. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Now we'll adjourn OCMFA and convene as the Oklahoma City Public Property Authority, where we have items A through C we could take with one motion. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Wait, were we? Let's look. It was only 6. How do you wish to be recorded? Yes. Yeah, we missed Mark there. But we can add him in, or? There we go. All right. Passes unanimously. I've lost track. What was that? OCMFA? All right. No, OCPPA. All right. Now we are adjourning OCPPA and reconvene as the council, where we are on item 9, the consent docket. There are no scheduled presentations. Is there an item that a council member wishes to pull out for separate discussion or vote?
Yes, Mayor. Item F
Okay.
and item AA.
Okay. Did you say H?
and AE.
Okay.
And I just want to pull those for separate vote.
Separate votes. Okay. Okay.
And then,
Yeah,
I'm
go
sorry,
ahead.
Was someone else going to speak? Item BK for a separate vote. Please.
Okay. All right, if there's nothing else, we'll take those in order. We'll start with item F. And Councilman Pennington, we do have a few folks who have signed up to speak on that item. I don't know when you'd want to tackle that. You want to start
We
there?
can go ahead. Well, actually, let me ask this question before we do that. Why is the decision, City Manager, to go ahead and reject the proposals? I guess I just want to understand
Yeah.
the thought process behind this plan and then what happens next.
There was a protest, a formal protest came in, several other letters that came in, and it was clear that there was a lack of clarity in some of the RFP, that we needed to clarify some things in the RFP, talking with legal, talking with the finance department and with the police department. We all agreed it was really cleaner because of all those protests and questions that came in, that we step back, clean up the RFP, reject these proposals, clean up the RFP, and come back and do a renewed process. And so that's my recommendation, is that we come back and clarify that. I would just tell you honestly, like the letters and all that we received, it was different record companies suggesting that another record company is not qualified, even ones that weren't selected, that I think we would go through the exact same thing we did with the last award that we attempted to make. If we did that, if we made a separate award, I believe it's going to be cleaner if we go back, clean up the RFP, and go back through the process.
How long would the process take? Because we've been going through this for about a year.
I mean, I would think just coming into the holidays, it would probably be somewhere around the beginning of the year that we would get started on the process again, that we would reissue that. I haven't really asked Angela, I don't know, or Charmin Lynn, but I would think by the time we go back and rework the RFP, we have to come back to council with an RFP to go out, so you'll know what changes we've made and we'll highlight those for you. So I would think that's probably, go ahead, Angela.
Absolutely. I think that timeline's spot on.
Okay.
We normally have those out on the streets for 4 to 6 weeks. Then the evaluation committee has an opportunity to carefully review each bid, score those according to the scoring rubric, and then we would come back to council with our recommendation.
I would think somewhere around the first part of the year is when we come back with the RFP for council to go out and advertise.
Yes, I agree.
Okay. Well, let's hear from our neighbors, unless other council members have thoughts or questions.
Okay. Todd Reed. If people would state your name and address and keep your remarks to 3 minutes or less.
Certainly. My name is Todd Reed, at 2613 Southwest 92nd Street, Oklahoma City. Good morning, Mayor, Manager, City Council. I'm with Car Cab Wrecker Service, and I just wanted to let you guys know that we still stand ready to serve Oklahoma City. We serve the Southeast District. We've served it, as I said, for many, many, many years. And we have been serving one half of the Northeast District already for about 8 months, 9 months now. I understand that zone is being covered very well presently. So if you guys want to take the time to clean up the RFP, get the wording right and stuff like that, then I would love the opportunity to come back and see if I can meet the qualifications of the new one. Maybe I can, I can't, don't know. But I can only assume that the city had originally chose Carcab Wrecker based pretty much on our past and present performance record, our timeliness to calls, our lack of complaints from the citizens and stuff like that. Like I said, our business model is adjusted pretty much. We're a contract wrecker. We deal with police departments, Tinker Air Force Base. We have the contract for Tinker Air Force Base. So a lot of our drivers have to meet a lot higher standard than some of the others and things like that. So I just want to let you guys know that we do have that zone covered. It is doing very well, and we look forward to serving the city of Oklahoma City the best we can. Thank you.
Thank you. Izar Al-Zubi.
City Manager, Council Member, Mayor David Hall, good morning. My name is Acer Al-Zubi. I'm the owner of Metro Towing, 13415 North Santa Fe. I would like to bring the attention that Zone 4 been without vendor since the January the 1st. Currently has 2 vendors covered until a new vendor been selected. The current RFP has no issue. It was clear, fair for all the bidders. It clearly say that you have to have location in Zone 4. It clearly say that you have to have 8 truck with the evidence of ownership. We're the only record service that brought in evidence in our bid packet that we have them trucks and all the license needed for them. And then also for the performance part, it did ask for the history of the company, and Metro Towing been established since 1975, doing business in Oklahoma City, and it clearly said that you have to have a minimum of 3 recommendation letters from law enforcement. We're currently in different law enforcement doing the same job that OCBD is asking, and we did supply that in our bid packet. And I have done a lot of homework and research to be qualified for this bid. One of the RFP required to follow the city code. And we're the only record service in Zone 4 that has pull permit in Zone 4 to open business, record service business. The rest of the bidders, they have not. So rejecting our bid and give opportunity for the other bidders to come back and fix their bid packet and to be qualified would not fair for us to give them advantage. And this thing has been going for over 6 months, and for the winter season coming soon. And evidence yesterday morning, it was a big scene of traffic and accident in Broadway Extension where we have a perfect location. We are only 1 mile away from Broadway Extension. I think it's fair and for public need and necessity is to go ahead and pick one of the vendors who qualify, have all the license and permit and ready to go. We fully have all the license and permit in Oklahoma City and the state to do that. And I have a lot of confidence and faith that you guys are gonna do the right thing up here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bert Woodring.
Bert Woodring. I was asked to speak in Acer's behalf today. You have on the docket here to reject the bids that were left for this deal, and the selection committee, the RFP, there's nothing wrong with it. We followed the complete directions of the RFP, as everybody else did. He is really actually the only applicant that is qualified at this point. And if you follow the proposals, and if you follow the city ordinance 58.2, which they told me in every protest letter that the city followed, if you will follow this ordinance, it says in 58.2, item C, the city council shall review the recommendations of the police department and shall be within the sole discretion of the city council to determine which applicants will be awarded contracts with the city. It says applicants. So you rejected the city's recommendation. So at this point, you've got 3 applicants left. And if it goes back now and the city just reviews it, the review committee can review what's there and then make a decision and bring it back. It's going to speed things up. It is winter time. There is need and necessity. That was absolutely evident yesterday. And so it doesn't cost the city a dime. They'll have another vendor, more trucks and equipment, and to serve the city. So it is up to the city council at its sole discretion to award these contracts. And they can, and in my opinion, this needs to be done. I mean, this has gone on for 11 months without a contractor. It's gone on for 5 months since these bids were open, and yet the city has not determined who is going to be a vendor yet. And he has a perfect bid, and it would be a shame to reject his bid at this point, because he did, this is a competitive bid. The RFP is a competitive bid, and he won this fair and square. He's the only actually qualified applicant, and I don't think it's fair at all for him not to get this bid. I mean, I think that the city should send it back to the committee, let them review the packets that's there, and then let them make a decision and bring it back to the council.
30 seconds remaining.
And is there any questions? Okay.
Thank you. Carlos Robinson.
I think he's running a little bit late.
Oh, okay. All right then. Councilman Payton, did you have anything else you wanted to say on this item?
My question is, so if we were to go down the road that he's suggesting and just, I guess, fail item F, what would happen? Would you just go back and review the
I mean, we could go
existing-
back and review the proposals that were there. There were 5 proposals. The next 2 were the same score when you combined all the score of the review committee. The last 2 were a tie score, so there was CarCab was number 1, and there were 2 companies that were the next that tied, and then 2 below that tied. Go back and reevaluate that, and my recommendation would be to start with the next 2 scoring, and then evaluate those to see if there's one of those you believe meets all the requirements. Go back through and confirm all of that. Again, I really believe that we're going to have the exact same situation that we had previously, and I think if we come back with a new one, you know, this is a very competitive process. There's going to be protests. There's going to be concerns for those who don't win. I think we can clean this up and be in a stronger position and have a stronger process going forward.
Other thoughts from council members?
I tend to agree with the city manager here. Like, it's been so convoluted. Like, let's go in, clean up the RFP, and go from there, see where it comes out at. But that way, at least we don't have the, you know, it says this, well, it's a preference that versus a requirement, that type of thing. So,
I think my only hesitancy, because that makes sense to me, to fix the errors that were shared across the board, you know, with the way the RFP was written. But I just am concerned about the timeline. Like, how long are we going to?
And I do understand that, and I appreciate that, and we will do everything we can to expedite, but I want to make sure it's right. I do believe that, so CarCab serves half the zone, and then Arrow, I think it is, serves the other half of the zone. Mm-hmm. And my understanding with police is they've been pleased with the service. We haven't had complaints with residents that they are serving the area, but I agree we need to get this cleaned up and addressed.
That makes sense to me.
Yes.
So, as long as there's a commitment to move quickly.
Councilor Stone, I was just looking back at the journal proceedings. Would you remind me, last time you took a different route than the rest of the council?
oh yeah, I love doing that, by the way.
I am deeply aware. Would you just remind me why? Like, I remember, but I just want...
So, for me, I know before an issue had come up where we were terminating a contract, right, with an existing record service. And they'd kind of reached out to me, but not personally. And so I just asked for a deferment on the item because I wanted to dig into it a little bit. After digging into it a little bit, it became very clear why they were terminating that contract. And it really had to do with performance, okay? So if you're a police officer, you get called to an auto accident, right? And you're waiting on a wrecker because you're controlling traffic flow. And if it takes that wrecker 4 hours to show up, that's a problem. It's a real problem for the city. It's a problem for the individuals in the city that are in that area. So once they brought that up, it became very clear to me that it's a very performance-based thing. And so that was the reason I said, well, this is who they've selected, let's go with that. But I did agree that the RFP was kind of convoluted. We had a lot of questions on, is this preferred or is this mandatory, those types of things. So I think if we clean that up, let them go back through the process, and yeah, granted, we need to do it as quick as we can, even though it's still being covered fine. It's not like we don't have service out there. I agree with everyone else, that's the right way to do it, which is kind of how we came up with it 2 weeks ago, so.
Well, I'm glad I asked you to articulate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Because I kind of, excuse me, I share that entire assessment. I am very moved by the comments we heard earlier regarding your selection. That really resonates with me, especially the weather we had yesterday. I hear what you're saying as well. So there's just a kind of deep concern that I have about someone who, you know, and went through the process, found themselves selected, you know, so in a marketplace, right? That makes a lot of sense to me. But I also hear what you're saying, Councilman, in terms of cleaning up that RFP. But when that process happens, the committee process, I don't know. I don't know what the resolution is, like, if, in terms of fairness and justice. If that company finds itself not selected, that, I don't know, there's just something that's, I mean, again, it'll be competitive and everyone has to apply again in this, with this new, these parameters, these clarified parameters, but there is just something that's not sitting well with me in some respect here. And I just wanted to articulate that, just so you are, I think sometimes, you know, it's important to air those sort of things. Sometimes things are messier than we might want. You were going to say something, Councilwoman?
I was just going to say, I think that it seemed like our council was consolidated in our concern that we needed to improve the rubric so that it could be much more evaluatable both by the committee, and then if we wanted to do a review, we would be able to make an informed decision and compare, this is the ask, this was what was proposed, and really make it performance driven. And I think that was the heart, that was the intent, and that is a consolidated kind of direction that we've given as a council. So I hope that this isn't seen as inaction. It is actually very intentional action to make a very data-informed decision.
Yeah, and I want to clarify too that you never take subjectivity out of it, like in this, like you're evaluating someone's performance in their past history. An individual has to sit down and evaluate that, and there will be some subjectivity that is still here, and people won't all agree on what the decisions are of an individual on a particular item. So it doesn't make it just like it's a formula that comes out and it's automatic. It's like judgment will have to be used in this, but we'll make sure that everything's clear in what we provide.
That makes sense to me. And again, to Councilman Cooper's point, I think it's important also that we have a fair process that allows for everyone, regardless of whether you currently have a city contract or not, to be able to win the contract. And so if clarifying the RFP puts us in a better position to do that, then I think that's fair.
Is this something that anybody wants to take a separate vote on, or are we just going to handle it under consent?
I think we can just handle it consent.
Okay. All right then. Item H, Councilwoman Avers, you did want a separate vote on this item.
Yes, for H, I just would like to request or make a motion to defer it so that I can get more information on it. It's tied to a change in the comp plan.
Okay. I'm going to vote for this, I think, unless Kenny or somebody says it's inappropriate. I mean, normally we introduce the planning item and then we can defer it into infinity after that. But Kenny, do you have any discomfort with not introducing a zoning case?
No.
Okay.
It-
For now, at least.
Yes, it can be introduced later, and you'll just set a different day for the
Okay.
hearing. Yep.
I'd really like to see the conversation happening after the holidays. I think right now is a crazy time anyway, so it's a good opportunity for me to get educated and then also be able to coordinate with our community more effectively.
Sounds good. And my comment comes from a place of understanding that, like, the zoning cases, we sort of owe the applicants
Yes,
an
I know it's
answer,
the
right?
early, yes. And I spoke with.
In a timely fashion.
The lawyers, or
Okay.
legal counsel as well.
Okay. Is this your case?
Yes.
Is this your application? I mean,
Dr. Carlos Robinson, sorry for my
this is about the Wrecker thing?
Yes.
Okay, yes, I did call you earlier, and we haven't voted on it yet, so go ahead and
Okay,
got 3
sorry
minutes.
about that. Thank you so much. Excuse me for my tardiness. Black Chamber President, I'm all over the place, but I truly appreciate the time. I didn't want to take too much time. For one, Honorable Mayor, thank you, and Council, men and women, thank you so much for your service. But I did want to just speak on Metro Towing. They are part of the Chamber, and we are backing them full-fledged. We've went through all of the applications with them, making sure that they had all things in line, and we wanted to make sure before we even backed them, they were in position. But they are the best company suited for the role, and we definitely want to say that on behalf of the Black Chamber. We support Metro Towing being the company to service Zone 4 because we've done the work with them. We didn't just take their word for it. We looked through each application. There was some discrepancies on some of the applications, and I remember some of those things from my collegiate days where you see some accidents happen on some grading, and those accidents did happen. No fault to anybody. It's probably a lot of work, more than likely, but we did go off and cross-reference all of the documents and making sure that they were aligned accordingly, and they did a great job with their bid. So I would just think it'd be a disservice to the community to open the bid back up and have more folks come in and go get themselves prepared. I just don't think that'd just be fair for Metro Towing when they did everything they needed to do to submit a bid proposal to the likings of the RFP. And so, again, Oklahoma City Black Chamber of Commerce, we full-fledged support and review the documents for Metro Towing to be in Zone 4, and that's what we would like to put before you in consideration for a vote. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, we're back on the separate vote for item H. So we could take a motion on that. This is to defer it. Yeah, how long, Councilwoman?
Meeting, not to our next session, but the January session. What date is that, Amy? I know.
That's 3 meetings, or?
Is that 3 meetings? I thought we only had
We
2
have
meetings
one,
in December.
2 more in December.
Okay, fine.
We have one December 30th.
December 30th.
Is that what you want? Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. I just know it's really crazy right now, and some of the planning staff are out on vacation, and so aligning times is
All right. So this is a motion to defer this item's introduction until December 30th. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Okay, now we're on item K. We have a citizen who signed up to speak, Michael Washington.
How's everybody this wonderful morning? How's everybody out there? Everybody good? Wonderful, wonderful. Well, now, Michael Washington, 100 Park Place, that would be Midwest City, by the way. Well, what do we have here? Item K, is that right?
Yes, you also signed up for item L. Would love it if you could handle
Yes.
both at the same time.
No, you cut me down my 3 minutes. No, sir, I like mine one at a time. Thank you, sir. Almost. Now then, ought this to be introduced and set for final hearing? I talk awful lot, I don't need a microphone, but it's there anyhow. PUD 2113, rezoning 1800 Northwest 115th Street from PUD 1767, Plan Unit Development District, to PUD 2113, Plan Unit Development District in Ward 7. Mr. City Council Person, interesting topic here, but I find to see why and how. What are we talking about in this identifier with these numbers, number one? these PUDs identifying numbers. Street plan from PUD 1767 Plan Unit Development to PUD 213 Plan Unit Development District. So are we just saying now that this particular zoning area is going to actually be a district rather than a particular business being established here? I think people deserve a little bit better information than what they're given so far, sir. I was sent here to ask and talk about this today in these particular two, because it's very important that we all know and find out what in the hell this is really saying here. It is enigmatic without clear identification here. This is what I'm trying to find out. 1 minute. Listen to me good, sir. You want to rezone 1800 Northwest 115th Street from a PUD Plan Unit Development District to a Plan Unit Development District. I don't understand. Is that the same thing? I'm lost here. I mean, others like to be concerned as well, because as we know, gentrification is real strongly, highly being promoted there on the northeast side of Oklahoma City and other parts of Oklahoma City as well.
30 seconds remaining.
Thank you. Oh my God, every time I get to ruggling and rolling, I just get, my goodness. But I still need that question answered, and the public needs it, sir. You may yield my 14 seconds left to you to give me some amount of identification. You can cut off at 14 seconds if you like. Well, that's 10. But can you give me some direction on that?
Mr. Washington, the motion today is for us to set a date for hearing. So there will be a date that we will then have a vote. So we're not voting on the final passage of this item today. So you'd have at least 2 weeks to find out more information.
Thank you, sir. That's all I needed. With that, Chair, I'll yield my time.
You also sent it for item L.
I'm sorry, may I, Councilman Michael, for anyone who also has that question about what this item is, simply look in the agenda packet and you'll find item K here, and then you'll see purpose.
Okay, well,
and you can read what the purpose is, and even on the back.
Where's this at?
This would be, you can go online too.
Oh, online.
If you want. You can borrow mine if you want, I don't know. But you can go online to the city government website, and this is for everyone watching too. Some people don't know this, but you can go online to the city website, city council agenda, click on it, and you can go to this item. You can click, there's a hyperlink, you click on this link, and it will give you all the information that you need about this item.
Thank you.
And let me also just say, because I was listening to your language, Councilman Pennington is not the one proposing this.
Well, it's on 7, though. It said Ward 7.
I understand that. But just so you know, next time you come back up here,
okay.
Applicants propose a zoning
Oh,
case.
I know that. I mean, but it's in his district.
It is in his district. It was just the way you spoke about it.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that clarification
no, I
was
got
out
you.
there.
Thank you.
All right, Michael Washington, you also signed up on item L.
Well, we're up on item L now. Almost similar, but not quite. Ordinance to be introduced and set for final hearing, great point, December 30th, 2025, PUD 215, rezoning 13200 North Midwest Boulevard from a RA single-family 1-acre rural residential district to a PUD 215 Plan Unit Development District. I'm again puzzled. I know a vote hasn't been taken yet. However, I must ask myself this question. What, are we moving families out now? Is this going to be some McDonald's and on-cues and things going here? Again, I haven't quite got the clear definition of what's going on here. But let me say, we the people deserve better, and yet this young man was great with his identifying what measures I can take on by going to the government website, which is a wonderful thing. You've just stated something to me that a lot of people didn't know that others now can themselves visit, as well as I will be doing. Thank you again for that one. But I still need in Ward 7, sir. Are we planning to remove this family setting and put people on something subject like plantations for the sake of wealthy developers who would prefer the that they just move people around like they're cattle or something. What's going on here? I noticed that a lot of apartment buildings are going up on every level here in the northeast side of Oklahoma City. As a matter of fact, on 6th and Stonewall, oh my goodness, they've even then redeveloped housing and plants and properties that wasn't even designed for that one. So, sir, I don't know how many times. I still need to know, though. Now, is this a vote too? Okay. Is this going to be a vote as well? It doesn't say. It doesn't say. It says final hearing on December. I know that. Sir, no. The people deserve better. This gentrification must stop. The wealthy wants that side of town back because they know that it has a value of numbers of halls and tinker federal credit unions and gambling houses and casinos and a whole works, hospitals, highways that leading from byways and things. I must here stand up for the voice of the people, the voiceless, because if we allow this to go on, pretty soon we're going to be living in small spots of town, living next door to everybody.
30 seconds remaining.
Thank you, ma'am. 30 seconds. Sir, would you like to speak on that? I got 30 seconds left.
Well, certainly I share your concern about gentrification in our community in Northeast Oklahoma City, Mr. Washington. Unfortunately, this particular zoning case is not about that. This is about an area 13,200 North Midwest Boulevard. So you're talking about north of the Turnpike, north of Memorial Road. So, you're talking about a very far out place. And the plan unit development you're referencing is just a type of customized zoning. So this is just changing the zoning, and it explicitly says on the page, if you look at the purpose, the purpose of this request is to allow residential development and specifically to modify the side yard setback on lots within the Coventry Park subdivision. So it's just changing the side yard setbacks.
Thank you, sir. And ma'am, I think that is my time, and thank you so much. I will be back, though.
Thank you. Councilman Pennington, you wanted to speak to item AA?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. It looks like the artist is here, and I just wanted to say thank you. I don't know if you want to say anything, Randy, or? Sure. Please, just quickly, if you don't mind.
Randy is always prepared for us in case we get questions on pieces of art. He does a great job.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Randy Marks from Arts and Cultural Affairs. And we'll get the slides up here in just a second. So next slide, please, Mark. National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum sits atop Persimmon Hill above I-44. I-44 was constructed right on top of Route 66, and it retained the Route 66 designation even after the interstate was complete. As a dramatic symbol of the spirit of the West, the Cowboy Museum is the fitting site for a sculpture celebrating the 100th anniversary of Route 66, that mythic highway to the western horizon. Next slide, please. On this, on the previous, go back one if you would, Mark. So you can see the Cowboy Museum is in the yellow oval, and the red star represents the site where the sculpture is going to be located. Next slide. Thank you. Here you see a more detailed view of the site. A sidewalk leads from a parking lot, which has been completed since the time that this photograph was taken, across a small creek into an outer walkway in the shape of the historic Route 66 sign. Next slide. And inside the inner walkway, on top of a 5-foot mound, is a 35-foot tall cowboy boot proclaiming, as the song says, "Oklahoma City looks mighty pretty." The sculpture titled 66 Kicks by local artist Cameron Eagle recalls the golden age of Route 66 signs. It's constructed of heavy gauge aluminum painted in aircraft paint with hard plexiglass letters lit from within. So although it mimics the look of neon, there's actually no neon in the work whatsoever. This rock solid sculpture is going to be able to handle virtually anything Oklahoma weather throws at it. Unlike many of the projects that we present to you, this is not a 1% for Art project. This is fully funded by MAPS 4 in their beautification package. Next slide, please. So this rendering shows the sculpture in the early evening. We anticipate that 66 Kicks is going to be a must-see stop on Route 66 for many years to come. I'm happy to take any questions.
Well, I just want to commend the artist and you and your team and everybody, and also the National Cowboy and Heritage Museum for, Western Heritage Museum for stepping up and suggesting this. I just think it's worked out really, really well, and this is a great new gateway to the cowboy, which, you know, historically, at least for all the people that are coming from that direction, doesn't necessarily have that welcome mat that it will now have with this. And I agree with what you just said. The visibility, obviously, for this from the highway will be tremendous, and I think will pull a lot of people off out of curiosity to take a picture with it. So it's really cool. Well done. Councilman?
And I just want to again thank Randy and the team and the artist. We had a spirited late night neighborhood meeting. Not everybody agreed on the fact that we were going to be there, but the overwhelming majority of the neighbors wanted it there. So I appreciate the patience. I appreciate the willingness to work with everyone to figure this out, and I'm excited for it to be in this new location. And so I just wanted to pull the item so everyone could get the chance to see the great work that you all have done. So thank you.
Thank you.
Randy, great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman.
Yeah, I just want to also add, because this was such a public also conversation, I just would like to take the time, because previously this would have gone in Ward 2 in the Asian District. Let me just say, as someone who doesn't necessarily respond to comments online, but I do see them from time to time, I just want to take the time to say to the artists, like, good work. And I hope that some of the rhetoric that you heard either at this podium during the Arts Council or online, try not to let that dig into you too much. This is a good home, I think, for it. And to Randy, you did an excellent job stewarding that Arts Council conversation. And
thank you.
Which I think was very lengthy. I just really want to compliment you for that. So
thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, now we're on item AE that Councilwoman Avers wanted to have a separate vote potentially for another deferral. Okay.
The 12:30 is fine.
With the one, and I think the applicant now, who did not speak earlier on the deferral vote, maybe now has some words to say.
Sure. So David Box, 525 Northwest 11th. So this is tied to H, and so if we want them together, we need to not defer H and just defer this. H is not doing anything but authorizing staff to send the notice. So if we defer H to 12:30, then they won't be tied together, because then on 12:30, all that will be done is authorizing staff to send the notice for the hearing to be sometime in January. To allow them to be tied together, H needs to be introduced today, set for final hearing on 12:30, at the same time you hear the comp plan that is AE.
Now, may I just ask, they're both, today, if nothing else had happened, H would have been introduced and AE would have been passed.
Well, so.
And she's proposing to do exactly that, but on December 30th. So explain to me why that's problematic.
Well, AE is the council accepting the comp plan. The comp plan has already been changed. Under Oklahoma state law, Planning Commission is the only body that can modify the comp plan. That was already done. All you are doing as the council is simply accepting what was done by the Planning Commission. If you were to vote no, it doesn't change the fact that the comp plan has already been changed. That is done. The ceremonial act of accepting it is nothing but that. You're accepting what the Planning Commission has already formalized under our comprehensive plan. My only point is, if you want them tied together, meaning on the same day, you need to let H be introduced today so that it's set for a hearing on 12:30.
What she's proposing to do, I don't even love it, but I'm defending it. What she's proposing to do is just to redo today. I mean, in every way. Like, we would just introduce H on December 30th and hear AE on just as we were going to today. So I'm trying to understand why that is so problematic, because that's exactly what we were about to do today.
Well, I mean, one, I think there's, I misunderstood when we spoke before, when you mentioned the comp plan. Modifying the introduction becomes problematic because, one, now we don't have a date certain. My client doesn't own the property, they have it under contract. So if there are things to be worked out between now and 12:30, that's perhaps the way to do it. And then if it doesn't happen then, we can of course defer the finally set hearing. Deferring the introduction just creates problems. One, I happen to be here most Tuesdays. If it was an applicant that was set for a hearing, they would have not had notice of today's hearing. So modifying the introduction of an item is logistically problematic. And I just wanted to make sure we were on the same page that if we wanted them tied together to be voted on the same day, H needs to be allowed to move forward, move this to 12:30. I just wanted to clarify that. Because all H is doing is introduction. It's not.
It is true. I will say, Councilman Edwards, I can't recall, I'm not saying this never happened, but it is so rare, I cannot recall an instance of deferring the introduction of a zoning case in my 7 years sitting here. So it is rather rare, what we just did a few minutes ago.
I understand. I also understand our notice process, and I understand the timeline that we are under within the holiday season. And we already have problems with notice. I have learned that through our Meridian bid project, and I want to make sure that we are operating in good faith as good neighbors and communicating actively. This is a change that is significant, and the LUDA that has been changed was specifically for this PUD. So it does not meet the fundamental framework of development that says it involves managing the transition of non-urban land to urban uses in a structured way to ensure sustainable and efficient development. So I just need to understand what is going on in this area, and I've asked for 30 days to get smart so that I can be an active representative and be proactive and not reactive.
Mayor,
And that's totally.
I think it can be done either way. And in Katrina's defense, all she's trying to do is get up to speed and understand something to make sure she reports to her constituents what's going on. And so I'm fine with just deferring both of them.
And that's fine too. I just want to make sure, like, this isn't 30 days. This is really 45 or more days. Because if we push the intro to 12:30, it would push the actual hearing on the PUD till the end of January. So it's really a 2-month deferral when we push the intro off. Which, my apologies, I thought we were talking about the comp plan. Perhaps my client's fine, they're not here, because nobody appears on the introductions, but it is a 2-month deferral, in essence, to push the intro to 12:30. But if that's the council's desire, then that's the council's desire.
We also have the momentum of what we have already done.
And that's fine too. I just want to make sure that we were all clear what was happening, so that's fine, if that's the council's desire.
All right, well, we come back around. You wanted to defer
Motion to
item
defer
8E to December 30th?
Yes, please.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Cast your votes to defer item 8E to December 30th. Passes unanimously. All right. We have someone who signed up to speak on item AF, Michael Washington.
Yes, I did. Very, very interesting topic here. My goodness. Oh, wait a minute. Wait just one doggone minute. F, A. Listen to me carefully, everyone, upon the sounds of my magnetic voice here. Resolution authorizing the filing of a foreclosure action on property at 3201 Northeast 12th Street, owned by, since it's already public, I can rename that person's name. I'll actually announce it. Pronounce it. Nasha L. McClendon, I may be not pronounced correctly, which was funded with HUD, HUD, Urban Homesteading Program funds due to default in loan payments and occupancy. Again, this is very, very vague, and the citizens as well as this property owner needs to know if this proceeding is appropriately before you. They need to know, I myself need to know, and others, have they been informed of these proceedings taking place or about to take place? How do we know that they have defaulted based upon some alleged HUD statement. Where do you have the proof yourself? Where do the public have this proof? This clandestine activity will end, ladies and gentlemen of the jury today, because Michael Washington up here speaking for the voice of the voiceless, whether they like it or not. Bottom line. Now then, I'm not up here to make friends, because if friends have a problem with me helping others, then naturally you're not mine in the beginning. Black, white, pink, purple, orange. Now then, I don't know what position this is going to place this family in. Did y'all, or this actually homestead or whatever they're talking about, let me listen to everybody else that's under the sound of my voice. Why don't y'all listen as well? It seems like to me that HUD Urban Homesteading Program funds are available to you who listen to me by video or audio. So why don't y'all use it too? And let's just see if they're right or not. They really didn't want you to know. Probably you didn't know this exists, did you? Watch it now, because Michael going to reveal to the public what they have a right to know, because we're not going to use it discriminatorily. Back to the topic. Well, now, foreclosure on this property, huh? Yeah, okay.
30 seconds remaining.
Oh, my goodness. See, I get the roll, and I just can't get it locked in like I need to. Man, I'm long-winded. Let me have about 10 more minutes. Oh, I'm just kidding. I know you're not. Okay, I'm just having fun. But in reality, I'm very serious about this AF. Now, we need, I don't know, Mr. Councilman, has this person been informed that this proceeding is going to be taking place?
Yes, Mr. Washington, and that's what's in the letter that's online, the notice that we all received in the memo, that the person was notified and that the person hasn't made payments in over 2.5 years.
Now, if that's the case, let me get ready to close. Yes, they need foreclosure if that happened. I don't know, now, if that's the truth. Thank you, sir, for y'all's time and patience. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Cooper, you wanted to have a separate vote on item BK?
Yes. On this one, I was speaking with Councilwoman Avers, and I think she has a pretty reasonable reason to support this one. And I mentioned that just because it's in her ward. I have, however, just always a difficulty with annexation of new land into Oklahoma City when we're 621 square miles. When at the end of the 1950s, when Clara Luper and her kiddos, her students, did the sit-ins in 1958 in August, we were around 80 square miles, and we have grown to 621, making us one of the largest by land space cities in the United States of America. And that makes it difficult to maintain the assets that we have, like our roads, our drainage systems, our sidewalks, our parks, et cetera. And that has been the case ever since the late 1950s. And it's a concern I always hear from residents, not just in Ward 2, but in my ward for sure, is how do we maintain what we got? And so I do suspect there's probably a majority on council that will support this, and I wish everyone well, but it would be, and so it's not necessarily against the economic development part, but I do have concerns about bringing more land into our city's responsibilities. So that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, and by the way, I'll add, I'm going to vote for this, but I have basically the exact same opinion as you, and I would drop 200 square miles of the city if I thought it were practical or doable. But the problem is here is that really this isn't about adding significant more land. When I became mayor, I was the mayor of a 621 square mile city, and I'm still the mayor of a 621 square mile city. So nothing material has occurred in the last 7 years. Nothing really material has occurred probably in 50 years. The mistakes, and I think they were mistakes that were made in the 50s and 60s, happened a long time ago. What we've had put in front of us today and several times in the last few years are highly strategic, very specific issues where we are taking in acres, not miles, and sometimes, and in this case, I guess we're like kind of swapping and, net neutral for the most part. It is, at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is this has no effect on our ability to provide city services. one way or the other. It has got nothing to do with that. And so I don't like to box myself into these sort of black and white rules where we can't even be practical when it comes to doing certain things around the edges that make a lot of sense for other reasons. So that's why I'm voting yes, while still sharing essentially your view that the city is sort of unmanageably large, but that's not anything that's going to change today one way or the other, in my view.
Oh, someone was going to speak?
Sorry, I was just saying, I was just qualifying that with, that's my opinion, but go ahead.
I was just going to say that the land that we are annexing is land that is owned by the city. So it's not impacting any residents in that way. And the land that we're de-annexing is wrapped around by the Yukon school system. And there's businesses that want to develop there, but they really want that tax base to go into that community and that school system. And I think that that is part of being a good neighbor, is recognizing where we can draw boundaries that are mutually beneficial and make a lot of sense from a fiscal responsibility perspective. And that's what I see this as. I do share your same passion for saying, we've got enough to say grace over, but really this is already land that the city owns, and so it's just aligning that within our city limits.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as I appreciate both of the councilwoman, excuse me, and the honorable mayor. Like I said, reasonable people can disagree, and I just have a slightly different position here. It is what it is. So, but reasonable people.
Sounds good. And we all are reasonable people. All right, let's, you want to take a vote then on this issue separately, item BK?
Please, thank you.
It's not coming up, Mayor.
Yeah, I see that.
So I need to make a
Do we need to give up and do a verbal motion? There we go.
Okay. So this is to vote for it, right? Okay.
This is a motion to approve.
This is to pass item BK. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes 5-2. All right, that concludes everything that had individual consideration on the consent docket. We can now adopt the consent docket that remains. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Now we're on item 10, the concurrence docket. We have items A through K we could take with one motion. The motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Item 11, items for individual consideration. Item 11A is an ordinance on final hearing. It was recommended for approval, rezoning 2330 West Sheridan from R1 to R2. Councilwoman Hammond.
Yes, this is just a zone for a duplex, so I'll move for approval.
Got a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Item B was previously deferred, which brings us to item C. This is an ordinance on final hearing, recommended for approval, rezoning 9700 Southwest 44th from AA to PUD 2087. Councilwoman Avers, no one is signed to speak, and for everybody, no one is signed to speak on any zoning case. Councilwoman Avers.
Yes, okay, so this one was actually very excellently coordinated. Thank you to David Box and his team and our neighbors gathering together and having some really constructive conversations, and I think that they got to a great solution with this PUD, so my motion is to approve.
We We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Item 11D is an ordinance on final hearing. It was recommended for approval, rezoning 1600 Northeast 101st from PUD 588 to PUD 2101. Councilman Pennington.
Thank you, Mayor. This is just a rezoning case that's trying to expand some of the industrial uses that are already allowed with the existing communications tower. They do have a letter of support from the school district of which this piece of property is adjacent to. So I'm in full support and move to approve.
We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Item E is an ordinance on final hearing recommended for approval, rezoning 15100 North County Line from R1 to PUD 2104. Has anyone been asked to handle?
Councilman Carter's a little under the weather today, and he asked me to move this forward. No one signed up to protest, so at this time, I'll move the matter forward.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Item F is an ordinance on final hearing. It was recommended for approval, rezoning 11400 South Penn from AA to SPUD 1759. Councilman Hinkle.
I see Mr. McBride out there. I'm ready to move this forward unless anybody has any questions or you'd like to make a brief statement on what you're trying to do.
I guess I can make a brief statement.
This is a great project, great project.
So this is a piece of property that was donated to Oklahoma Baptist Home for Children by Richard Thompson. And we're wanting to do some duplexes on this piece of property. We're working with engineers right now to get that all done, and planning's already approved it. So it's for single mothers, just a kind of an addition to what they've got over on Southwestern. Just kind of moves mothers, single mothers to a different area. And if you got any questions, feel free.
Thank you.
Councilman Hinkle, can
Yes,
I just say, from what I've been learning for like the last year, this is a huge need, like a huge need,
great
particularly
project
for single moms and dads. So thank you.
Great, great project. So with that, I'll move this forward. Maybe.
We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Item G is an ordinance on final hearing recommended for approval, rezoning 2232 Southwest 59th from O2 to SPUD 1781. Back to you, Councilman Hinkle.
Is the applicant here? Do you have anything you want to say? No. This is just opening up a little bit more of a commercial use on an already commercial street, so I'll move it forward.
Motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Item H is an ordinance on final hearing. It's recommended for approval, establishing a special permit to operate use unit 8300.68 spectator sports and entertainment high impact in the downtown business and downtown parking overlay districts of 125 West Reno. Councilman Pennington.
Thank you, Mayor. We're all excited about the new arena, and without this special permit, they wouldn't be able to actually operate the new arena. So it's pretty essential. Obviously, we know the voters have spoken on this, and so just excited for us to be able to move forward, and hopefully we can have a great new arena for the world to see when we host the Olympics in 28. So I move approval.
We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Item I is an ordinance on final hearing recommended for approval closing the South Douglas Boulevard right-of-way between Southeast 134th and Southeast 149th. Councilman Stone.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm just curious if we got the traffic vote on this? No?
What, I'm sorry?
The traffic count. I'm sorry, I said vote, but did we get a traffic count?
Yes, sir.
Was
Lisa
it-
Cronister, Assistant Planning Director. It was 240 average trips per day in that stretch.
Really?
Yes, so very, very low.
That seems pretty high to me. I would have thought it was closer to 15. But I'm assuming a lot of that is probably employees there at the water treatment plant itself, so. All right, with that, I will go ahead and move for its approval. Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Item J is an ordinance on final hearing recommended for approval closing a 312-foot portion of the platted east-west utility easement in Block 1 of Warwick Plaza near Warwick and Northwest 122nd. Councilman Stonecipher.
The Planning Commission recommended approval. There's been no protest, so at this time I'll move the item forward.
We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. All right, item K was previously deferred, which brings us to item L. So this is the second of two meetings on this ordinance, which is now on final hearing relating to taxation. This, you may recall, we received a presentation. This has to do with the use tax relative to the arena tax collection that will commence in 2028. So no presentation, but if council has any questions, I'm sure they would be happy to entertain them. Otherwise, we could take a motion. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. All right, item M is a resolution relating to administration of the use tax levied under ordinance number 27980. This is a companion, right? To what
Yes.
What we just passed.
Yes,
But there is a
item-
presentation on this?
Yes, item M and N are related, and they're all tied into the arena, and so I'm going to let Angela Pierce, our finance director, give us a quick update on what these two items are doing.
Good morning, Angela Pierce, Finance Director. Item M and N are both companion items. Item N is your arena use tax resolution of council intent. This allows us to pledge the use tax towards the transaction. It increases the marketability of the transaction and thus the efficiency of the interest rate that we'll get on that debt. I'd also like to note that the public safety allocation remains unchanged from the prior amount of 65%.
So just to clarify on this one too, it's just, this allows us to be able to, this declares the use of the use tax, so the purpose of the use tax, so it's public safety equipment, it's how we've used the use tax associated with maps, and now with the new arenas, we're going to plan to do the same thing. We've also set aside that portion for the just maintenance on other facilities, and then this allows us to pledge this against the for the debt, but our intent would be not to have to use this. It's just really kind of a backstop and gives us a stronger position, but it would be available if we had to draw on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You want to go ahead? I'm sorry. Do you want to go ahead and talk about N and what we're doing on that one? It's a little bit different because it's on the MAPS 4 use tax. We'll just go ahead and clarify that because they're both tied to the arena financing.
Yes. So item N's the MAPS 4 use tax resolution of council intent. This allows for flexibility for cash flow purposes, and so this allows us to use a portion of the MAPS 4 funds and then reimburse that when we go to issue the actual debt. And so there will be a companion item coming in the future, administratively a reimbursement resolution to support that. The net impact on the MAPS 4 fund would be $0.
Okay. then we can go ahead and, if there's no questions, I suppose we can take a motion on item M. A motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. And then item N. A motion and a second. Cast your votes. Councilwoman Avers, have you voted? Passes unanimously. Item 11O1 is the public hearing regarding the dilapidated structures here listed, and Michael Washington has signed up to speak.
Is this my pen or somebody left? I think it's mine, isn't it? Let me just see one. I'm not going to take long. My back hurting me. 1709 North Stonewall Avenue, a.k.a. formerly known as 1023 Northeast 16th Street. Let me see here. Oh my God, it's not torn down yet? I've seen enough. Thank y'all. I'll pass on all the rest. I haven't studied them yet. Thank you.
All right, we'll proceed then to the resolution at O2 declaring that the structures are dilapidated. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Item P1 is the public hearing regarding unsecured structures here listed. Amy, has anyone signed up to speak?
No, they haven't.
They have not, so we'll advance to the resolution found at P2. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Q1 is the public hearing regarding the abandoned buildings here listed. Amy, has anyone signed up to speak?
No, they haven't.
They have not, so we'll advance to the resolution found at Q2 declaring that the buildings are abandoned. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Item R is the joint resolution with the Oklahoma City Economic Development Trust approving the allocation of general obligation limited tax bond proceeds and or GO limited tax investment proceeds in an amount of $100,000 to provide for certain community development incentives for the We Host Alliance Affordable Housing Project, consisting of 38 affordable housing units at North Kentucky Avenue and Northwest 4th. And we have a presentation.
Yes, so John M. McSpadden, our Economic Development Manager, will introduce this item and then introduce the developer to describe the project.
Yeah, good morning. Joanna McSpadden, Finance Department. I wanted to give a quick introduction of this item. It's a $100,000 allocation. This is the final allocation from the 2017 Affordable Housing Bond authorization. So it was the little bit that we had left, and we have a project that could use it. So Kathy O'Connor is going to come up and give us a summary of the project, and we'll answer questions afterward.
Yeah, by the way, out of curiosity, since you brought that up, do you know how many offhand projects ultimately were individual? And I'm sorry to put you on the spot.
It's okay. I think 8. I would be happy to prepare a summary because I can put something together.
That'd be a good
real quick.
idea. We might
the
like to
number
just-
of units, the
Yeah.
dollars, all of those things.
10 million to begin with.
10 million.
And maybe a summary of how all that resolved would be nice.
Yeah, happy to do that. It was 7, 8 projects, something along those lines.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Good morning. I'm Kathy O'Connor with the Coalign Group, and I'm here representing We Are Society for this item this morning. We are asking for an allocation of the final $100,000 from the General Obligation Limited Tax Bond Authorization for Affordable Housing. We Are Society is the applicant for the project or the developer for it. We Are Society is a nonprofit affordable housing developer that will serve with OFA to access low-income housing tax credits that are necessary for the project. The project's located at Kentucky and Northwest 4th Street. The ownership will be the Oklahoma City County Housing Authority's nonprofit, the CEC. along with American Covenant, who is another affordable housing developer, and We Are Society. The reason that American Covenant is involved is that OFA has a requirement that you partner with an experienced affordable housing developer on your first few projects in order to make sure that the developers can deliver on the development. So the operations and management for this project is pretty unique. It will be managed by the Homeless Alliance, so we will be partnering with them to identify individuals who are coming out of homelessness that need housing. The project is 38 units. 34 of those are one-bedroom units, and then there's 4 two-bedroom units. All the units will be at 30% AMI or lower. Project-based vouchers have been provided by the Housing Authority, which is why they have an ownership interest in the project. And all the rates will be at 2026 fair market value for all, fair market value rents for the project. These are some images of the project to provide permanent supportive housing for people coming out of homelessness. This is the floor plan that kind of shows that there is some community space in the middle of the project for training rooms or gathering spaces for the people that are living there, and then just a kind of layout of all the units. Some more images. This is the capital stack for the project, so you can see that we've been able to access a wide variety of funding sources to support this project. Affordable housing projects are getting more and more difficult to fund with raising construction costs and interest rates. But this project has funding through ARPA, $950,000, solar tax credits, affordable housing funds through MAPS 4, the GEO bond allocation that we're talking about this morning. We also were able to access some home ARP money through Oklahoma County. And then we'll be deferring a good portion of the developer fee. Is that it? Okay. Any questions? Great. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Well, if there's no other questions or comments, we could take a vote on item R.
Mayor.
Yes?
And City Manager, may I make a request when I think maybe more also to Joanna, whenever that presentation happens regarding I believe it was $10 million.
I'm just looking for a memo. I don't need a presentation.
Even in the memo, one of the things that I would like would be what the percent of the average median income was for those projects, because there's a lot of confusion, because I'll hear people say workforce affordable housing and not realize what percent of the area and median income that means versus 30, which is this one, versus 50. And those numbers are really important because sometimes, there might be times where this happened just over Thanksgiving break where I'll say affordable housing and someone thinks that means public housing. And so these sort of clarifications on the different percentages, I think will serve us well as we're crafting the policy for the $50 million that this bond is going to fund. I'd be appreciative. Thank you.
All right, thank you. If we can get a motion, we can take a vote on this item. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. All right, item S is receive private development water and wastewater design requirements manual. It's a rare vote to receive something. We do have a presentation on it.
Yes, Chris Browning. Oh, I'm sorry. Jared's going to do the presentation. So Jared McLaughlin will provide us the presentation of the proposed changes to the private development standards.
Honorable Mayor and council members. This is an update to our manual, and it really just includes some minor updates to grammatical, punctuation, spelling errors, some terminology adjustments to be consistent throughout the document. There are some other changes that include allowing PVC pipe on up to 24-inch because of the corrosion issues that we've seen with ductile iron pipe. There's a minor portion that says that the as-built submittal process should be submitted electronically through Acela rather than through a CD or USB. And then there's some clarifications to what is allowed in our easement that we're just putting in writing so that they know that it's flat work that can be allowed in the easements. And then some minor adjustments to what we allow so that our pipe is in the center of a 20-foot easement. That's where we want the pipe to be, and so we just have a detail that clarifies that, and then a few other minor clarifications. Any questions?
Thanks, Jerry. All right, we can take a vote now on receiving these changes. Item S, we have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. All right, 11T1 is a joint resolution with the MFA approving settlement of the workers' compensation subrogation claim recovered on behalf of Johnny Rodriguez Jones, and executive session is not requested. So a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Item U1 is rescinding our prior approval of a property damage claim that was filed by Belinda Young in the amount of $509.91 and denying the claim. Executive session is not requested. I want to point out, if we should proceed, that we actually will need to take two votes, one to rescind our previous vote and one to now deny the claim. So the motion would be to rescind if there's no questions. If the questions are any level of detail, we need to go to an executive session. But we've got a motion and a second, possibly, to rescind. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Now, this motion, if the council so desires, would be to deny the original claim. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. All right, now we are at item V1, a claim recommended for denial. Executive session is not requested. We can take a vote on V1A. A motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Item W1 are claims recommended for approval. There are three. Executive session is not requested. We can take items W1, A through C with one motion. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. All right, we're at item 12, comments from council, Ward 2.
Yes, thank you. Today is December 2nd, as we are aware. December 1st is World AIDS Day. And I just want to take a moment to acknowledge that in Oklahoma, unfortunately, and I'm just quoting from the Oklahoman right now, the age group most at risk for HIV/AIDS is 20 to 29-year-olds. Right, so that's that's our young folk, right? And then the second is age 30 to 39. So this is the group most at risk right now of contracting HIV/AIDS. And I'll just quote from the article. Sadly, the rate of new HIV infections in persons living with HIV/AIDS in Oklahoma has continued to grow every year since 1982. No longer quoting from the article, that was the year I was born. So we're still living, I'm quoting from the article again, we are still living with the HIV/AIDS epidemic, and that's why our work is paramount to Oklahoma's public health. Those numbers are actually higher amongst Black and brown Oklahomans, unfortunately. So our youth of color, right? And so that's something I always think about because my mother is a retired RN. She treated actually one of the very first patients with HIV/AIDS in the 1980s when doctors and hospitals were turning away those patients. And I just want to really, express my forever gratitude to the people who came before us in the 80s, who literally did nonviolent protest in the halls of Congress, at the Center for Disease Control, groups like ACT UP and Queer Nation. When the government wouldn't respond, they literally put their bodies on the line and faced arrest because their actual lives were on the line. Had they not done that, there would not be the cocktail drugs that exist today. And this is very important for a couple reasons. Had they not done those protests, those cocktail drugs wouldn't exist, and the people who are now HIV positive can go on to live long lives well into their senior years. Whereas in the 80s and 90s, we know that HIV/AIDS as a diagnosis was a death sentence. And so I just really want to acknowledge the people in this very city who did that work. So all that to also say, get tested, just get tested. Just go do it. Just get tested. And once you know your status and you're negative, that helps keep other people negative too. The second thing is that if one should find themselves positive, just know that there will be a health provider right there at your side, holding your hand to connect you to the life-saving and life-prolonging medication that you will need to continue to be with us as a resident of Oklahoma City. I just think that's an important thing to know during World AIDS Day, which was yesterday, but it's just important to acknowledge that history and where we are today. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Ward 3, Ward 4, Ward 5, Ward 6, Ward 7, Ward 8.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Janae Williams from the Oklahoman. Yesterday she wrote an article. It's entitled "Volunteering at Local Nonprofits Fills the Gaps and Helps Our Community Needs." She wrote a great article that walks you through the steps of how you volunteer for nonprofits, 3 in particular, one being the Regional Food Bank, the other being Homeless Alliance, and the other being Animal Welfare for Oklahoma City. But the great thing about the article, at the end of it, she lists 21 nonprofits that need volunteers, not only during the holidays, but throughout the years. Winston Churchill, and I'm not going to get the quote exactly right, but once he said, the difference between making a living and making a life is giving back. And this is how we can give back, by helping our nonprofits. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes item 12. It brings us to item 13, citizens to be heard. Michael Washington.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all. We're about to bring this to a conclusion. I just want to take this time and opportunity to inform this esteemed and highly respected, believe it or not, I respect y'all. Don't ever think, I think you know that anyhow. Just I'm really passionate about being independent. What I want to talk about today in my 3 minutes, that is repetitively decreasing. In January of 2025, there were at least 1,454 detainees in the Oklahoma County Detention Center. As of August of 2025, that number had ballooned to over 1,700. However, in 2024, there was under 1,300 detainees in the Oklahoma County Detention Center. What I want to ask those of you who have pawned your inmates to the county, how do you explain this uptick in people being confined in the Oklahoma County Detention Center that I so rightfully dubbed the House of Horror? This means there's an increase of more than 249 new individuals from January 2025 to August 2025. Think about that for a minute. This is not to say or absolve any criminals of wrongful activity. We know no one wants that. But at the same time, too, a lot of problems associated with this is a number of officers on the police force. Again, I respect the chief highly. We've never had any problem, again, but I have to be truthful. Some of those officers there go beyond the call of duty to serve the city of Oklahoma City. I don't have any names nor numbers at the moment, but I did want to bring this to your attention so that once we meet again, that this will be one of the hottest items, I believe, on the table. Because right now, the county commissioners are grappling with a new place, actually do have a new place for the jail, but at the same time, the increasing numbers, they're talking about, I think, over 1,800. Now, we know, too, that the jail is highly understaffed, and I wonder how will that play out? Where are you going to get the people that you're not able to keep in the current jail setting, where we have 1,700? As an advocate, again, I'm not speaking for Michael Washington, I'm speaking for Oklahoma Coalition Against People Abuse, where our motto is change your world.
30 seconds remaining.
And your world will change around you. We don't care who you are, what grade you come from, how wealthy or poor you may be. Under our coalition, we do not discriminate. We're a multicultural group, and we will stand up on any cause by any means necessary. Anybody call upon us, get ready, because here I come. I don't care if my brother did you wrong. Here I come. We're going to straighten him out. So it's nothing against any of you if you do wrong. It goes with anybody. If I'm wrong, they're going to straighten me out, and I expect that to happen. Again, thank y'all very much, and let's talk about that overcrowded situation in jail. Thank y'all. Have a great day.
Okay, thank you. That concludes citizens to be heard. We are now going to go into the previously voted upon executive sessions in item 3C, D, and E, and return potentially to vote on the items therein. We are now going into executive session. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. All right, we are back from executive session. We're on item 3C1. This is the resolution establishing a new annual salary for the city manager. I'm going to turn to Councilman Stonecipher to verbally communicate the key details of the resolution, which were left blank, and then we'll take a vote on that, and we'll take all 3 items one at a time. Councilman Stonecipher.
Thank you. I'm going to begin with the city manager. Whereas since his appointment as city manager, the city manager has been eligible to receive all sick leave, vacation leave, coverage in health, life, disability, and accident insurance programs, participation in retirement programs, and any other fringe benefits as are or will be provided to other city employees under the ordinances of the City of Oklahoma City and the Management and Executive Employee Pay Plan. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the mayor and council of the City of Oklahoma City that the annual salary of Craig Freeman, city manager of the City of Oklahoma City, shall be $342,056.16, which converts to an hourly salary of $163.82 based upon 2,088 hours annually, payable pro rata each 2 weeks. Be it further resolved, the city manager shall receive an annual allowance of $7,000 payable monthly in lieu of automobile expenses incurred in the performance of his duties. Be it further resolved, the city manager shall continue to receive all other benefits provided at the time of his appointment. Be it further resolved, the effective date for the salary and expense allowance provided in this resolution shall be the first day of January 2026. Approved by the City Council and signed by the Mayor of the City of Oklahoma City as of today's date.
Okay, you heard the motion. Let's do it electronically now. We have a motion and a second for item 3C1. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously and with the necessary 6 affirmative votes. Which brings us to item 3D1 relating to the city auditor, and I'll turn again to Councilman Stonecipher.
Thank you, Your Honor. Whereas since his appointment as city auditor, the city auditor has been eligible to receive all sick leave, vacation leave, coverage in the health, life, disability, and accident insurance programs, participation in retirement programs, and any other fringe benefits as are or will be provided to other city employees under the ordinances of the City of Oklahoma City and the Management and Executive Employee Pay Plan. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the City of Oklahoma City that the annual salary of Matt Weller, City Auditor of the City of Oklahoma City, shall be $210,031.92, which converts to an hourly salary of $100.59 based upon 2,088 hours annually, payable pro rata each 2 weeks. Be it further resolved, the city auditor shall receive an annual allowance of $7,000 payable monthly in lieu of automobile expenses incurred in the performance of his duties. Be it further resolved, the city auditor shall continue to receive all other benefits provided at the time of his appointment. Be it further resolved, the effective date for the salary and expense allowance provided in this resolution shall be the first day of January 2026. And approved by the council and signed by the mayor of the City of Oklahoma on this day.
All right, you've heard the motion. Let's bring it up now electronically for a vote. We have a motion and a second on item D1. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously and with the necessary 6 affirmative votes. And finally, item E1. This relates to the municipal councilor, Councilman Stonecipher.
Whereas since his appointment as municipal councilor, the municipal councilor has been eligible to receive all sick leave, vacation leave, coverage in the health, life, disability, and accident insurance programs, participation in retirement programs, and any other fringe benefits as are or will be provided to other city employees under the ordinances of the City of Oklahoma City and the Management and Executive Employment Pay Plan. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the mayor and council of the City of Oklahoma City that the annual salary salary of Kenneth Jordan, municipal counselor of the city of Oklahoma City, shall be $262,378.08, which converts to an hourly salary of $125.66, based upon 2,088 hours annually, payable pro rata each 2 weeks. Be it further resolved, the municipal councilor shall receive an annual allowance of $7,000 payable monthly in lieu of automobile expenses incurred in the performance of his duties. Be it further resolved, the municipal councilor shall continue to receive all other benefits provided at the time of his appointment. Be it further resolved, the effective date for the salary and expense allowance provided in this resolution shall be the first day of January 2026, approved by the council and signed by the mayor of the city of Oklahoma City this day.
All right, thank you. You heard the motion. Let's bring it up electronically now for a vote. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. All right. Well, that concludes our business, and we are now back at item 14, which is adjournment, and we are adjourned.